Well, imagine being a part of a group of stud breeders that have contributed to no less than 20% of the self-replacing portion of the New Zealand sheep industry. That's huge. I'm excited to celebrate this on Serious Country tonight, the 50 years of the Wairarapa Romney Improvement Group, who you can't underestimate the value of their continuous incremental improvements over those 50 years. Focus on the core values of profitability towards sheep breeding in this country. And some of those notable original members we need to acknowledge: the late John Daniel, Holmes Warren, John and Bill Hume, Bay Delator, Bev Oliver, and John Wingate. Now, joining us now to discuss, following a story from Kate Taylor in a recent Farmers Weekly, how far the group of breeders has come, is current chairman Zandy Wallace joining us now from Wairarapa near Masterton. Evening, Zandy.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Now, would you mind setting the scene for those who are not familiar with the Wairarapa Romney Improvement Group? How did it all start back in 1970?
Yes, I'm obviously using other people's information here. Hadn't been thought of by them, but it was Bill Hume, as you sort of alluded to, Holmes Warren and John Daniel were sort of got together early on in the piece and sort of decided that they could see that there was going to be benefit from bringing together some like-minded breeders to sort of sit around a table, I suppose, to start with, and bounce ideas off each other and see how they can leverage off each other to sort of move forward and make a bit of progress with their flocks.
How important is collaboration in breeding, and rather than just doing it on your own? You know that yourself being in the game and your family for some time.
Yeah, very important. Well, it's certainly a great asset and a tool, well, from our point of view, is to be part of the group. Some of the strengths that are still relevant today of the group is has always been the ability for the group to sit around a table, despite all being in competition out in the marketplace as such, but we can sort of meet on a level playing field or a neutral ground, I suppose, and work, just have some really good discussion and pull together the wisdom and the I guess the scale of the group. As you sort of alluded to, we do have a big influence on the national ewe flock, and we're sitting at about 32,000 breeding recorded ewes, and so being able to pull together that sort of scale of genetics, and we're connectedness is a word, is a bit of a catchphrase or a catchword in the genetics game, and so that connectedness within our flocks is super important too, just like that sharing of the wisdom and the ideas with each other.
And you can certainly make a huge genetic gain when it is cross 32,000 and having a collective group. What have been those incremental traits that were important early on that you're reaping the benefits of now?
Yeah, or that the industry is reaping the benefits of now. I guess when the group was formed, wool was king. Obviously, we've seen a bit of a shift in where the priorities are and where our income earners are, and so in the 1970s, the lambing percentages were sitting around between 70 and 120%. So these guys got together and saw that they needed to fix that, and they have within the Wairarapa Romney Improvement Group as such, made big gains there. And then there's been sort of as they've come up, the newer traits or sort of more the next most important traits have been targeted. For instance, growth rate was a big one, where we made a large, huge gains over sort of, I think, could be wrong, a 15-year period where we had a central growth flock down, central growth rate flock on one of the members' properties, and made massive gains there. And that's so that there are a couple of big ones, and
And also, performance recording and evaluation of selection has come quite a long way since the 1970s as well. Can you give our audience a bit of an understanding of sort of the level of technology you're using on farm in these breeding operations?
Yeah, it varies. I guess we all have our own individual operations, obviously. The EID technology, probably having individual EID tags in sheep now is major. That's been giving us huge gains, and just being able to reduce human error and efficiency of getting large amounts of animals through the yards and recording accurately different traits. So that's widely used across the industry. Commercial farmers as well are now embracing that definitely. So that's a big one. And then DNA technology is probably I guess where there is a lot more potential yet, and some of the members are utilising that DNA technology and for parentage, and also improving accuracies and how we can predict genetic merit in animals and that sort of thing. So that probably highlights a couple of the main ones. Yeah.
And how important is the Romney breed going forward for the future of New Zealand sheep industry, Zandy?
Hugely important, Sarah, I'd say. We've got to remain competitive and relevant. We've got, Romneys are a fantastic all-round sheep, but we've got some pretty strong competitors too, as far as other breeds out there that we will compete with in the marketplace. So the Romney, I think there's potential for us to refine and still improve in various areas on the breed, but it's whether the gains in the next 50 years will be as huge or as contrasting as what they were in the first 50 years, that remain to be seen. I guess there's some catchphrases out there, or if you like, or trendy words out there like the sustainability and those sorts of words, and how does the Romney fit into there? It could be around using less chemicals, less trenches, less dips. Tailing is who knows where that will go in the future. I see.
And it's interesting, Zandy, too. I mean, of looking back at these pioneering generations. You think about the deer industry back in the 70s and where it's got to now, and what they've done for venison, what they've done for velvet, and of course the dairy industry. I mean, some amazing pioneers from the early 70s and 80s as well in New Zealand, and of course the sheep industry and all breeds, to be fair. For the next generation taking this forward, well, do you believe that we have that deep passion to make a difference, and we're supported by the industry to be able to have a long-term view for change?
I think there's certainly the passion there, and there's it has to absolutely 100%. We look forward and trying to think about what a sheep might look like in 10, 20 years time, and what our role is in getting there, sort of thing, and that's just in our sort of business, and there's absolutely there's some fantastic sort of players out there that are thinking along the same lines, and who and I think we've got some great tools, resources,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. That is Zandy Wallace. He is currently wearing the hat of chair of the Wairarapa Romney Improvement Group, and of course Wairarapa Rams near Masterton.
This is Sarah's Country.